Life Chatz with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
Hi, Bunny. How are you today?
I'm okay.
Today's topic, I said, let's just do something light and fun.
Mhm.
Let's see where it goes. The topic today that we're going to talk about is, would you want to do a TED Talk or a live talk? And if you did, what would you want to do it about? How comfortable would you be just being put on the stage in front of somebody to talk about whatever it is you do or you want to do? Or
Uh,
let's talk about that today.
it's so funny. Like when you said, we're gonna talk about this topic, we're coming up with something that would be light and fun, which because I was like, yeah, spirituality doesn't always have to be work and serious. So yeah, let's come up with something. And then you said this, and you said, let's talk about it. And then you said, Buddy, what would you do? And it was like my stomach sank. Just thinking about standing in front of a bunch of people, even though that's like something that I'm dreaming of doing, something that I want to do, something that I like would love to have to stand in front of thousands of people. Like I've seen concerts where things like
Mhm.
Green Day or something, and they're in auditoriums where there's or in stadiums where there's 40,000 people crammed in to see them and all that love going towards the band, and that they're in just absolute awe that they're seeing this. And I know I've seen videos of Green Day also like in a small intimate bar where there's only like
Yeah.
20 people. And the idea of that, just the power, the magnitude, the love, the it's incredible, but I would be so nervous.
Now, I don't normally get nervous speaking in front of people. I haven't spoken in front of thousands of people, but
Right.
I've spoken in front of people on a variety of occasions, and I don't normally get nervous as long as I know what I have to say. Like they're there to hear what I have to say, and
Hmm.
I have something to say. So as far as would I want to do a podcast? Oh, for sure, I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
Would I want to go live on a TED Talk? Yep,
Yeah.
I would go live on a TED Talk and talk about a variety of things. And, we've talked before, and a lot of the time when I do talk, it's about death and dying or healing and that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. So yeah, I would have I would have no issue with that. I think the difference is whether I'm there to talk or
Hmm.
whether I'm there for people to ask me questions and
Okay.
that kind of stuff. Like that might make it different. And the reason that comes to my mind is this weekend in Canada, Tyler Henry was at the casino
Hmm.
and he kept coming up in conversation, and I couldn't help but think how overwhelmed I would be with the energy of that many people.
Hmm.
That how would I do a reading if I did that? How would I do a reading for that many people when every single person that's in the audience wanted something from me? Like,
Hmm.
how do you close that energy in? And I just found myself the night that he was there sending him energy
Hmm.
because that would be overwhelming to me. Like to me, it's totally different if somebody was just coming to hear me talk about a topic. But
Really? That would be different, you think? Like that would be different
yeah,
for you? Now why, like what, see, just because, okay, so for the TED Talk, say that it was the TED Talk idea that you were having, and would you plan it? Like, would it be rehearsed? Would it be pre-written, or would it be, because we've talked about this before, like even including these
no,
podcasts.
most of stuff that I do, and even if I'm speaking at a women's conference or something like that, I have a general topic of what I'm going to talk about. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And for things like that, I would have maybe some points that I wanted to touch on,
Right.
but I don't ever pre-plan when I'm going to talk because I see myself just as a funnel,
Mm-hmm.
and not to give out too much information and my clients not want to come to me. But most of the time, even when I'm talking to my grief clients and stuff like that, I'll be sometimes I am that.
Yeah.
funnel of information. And, you know, I'll hear myself saying something to them and I'm thinking, oh, where'd that come from? Because I didn't think about saying that.
Right. Yeah.
So I tend to do the same thing when I speak in front of people because I believe that spirit speaks through me.
Right.
But I think it would be, oh, I just don't know. I just
Well,
imagine that that would be very difficult.
because the reason that I ask you is because that's what happens when I do tarot readings or mediumship readings or whatever. I'm not the one who's doing it. It is me being the vessel or the tool for spirit to transfer the messages. So it would be the same if I was to talk like how we're doing the podcast, or if I was to have a talk, it would be the same thing where it would be me getting into that heart-centered space,
Yeah.
which I don't have big rituals. Like I know some people do need to use big rituals to do that. Me personally, I don't. It's very quick for me. It's like I just kind of flip a switch and go, okay, I'm open now, right? It's like I turn on an open sign for
Yeah.
spirit and go open, and now it's open. And sometimes that happens. I'm pretty connected all the time, so sometimes that happens to me when we're talking, just casually talking in my day to day life. But
Hmm.
it's not to say that I don't get nervous. It's not to say that, because sometimes what it is really it's building the trust that it will be there, that spirit will be there to give me the message that I need to pass on. There have been times like I did do um gallery mediumship or platform mediumship, where an experience that I had was where I stood up and everybody was there for mediumship. That's what it was said. And generally, that is understood. And the same would be true for Tyler Henry, where it would be speaking to somebody who's a past loved one. That's a lot of time what people understand mediumship to be. In this case, for me, it was everybody I was bringing through was I was bringing general messages for everybody,
Yeah.
from angels, from spirit guides, from ancestors. And it was more of a general message. I wasn't bringing specifically like your grandmother or your uncle or that kind of thing. And even in times when I've witnessed platform mediumship, when I've been in the audience, and I believe it would be the same thing sitting at a Tyler Henry show with thousands of people, there's still a theme. There's a reason that those people are at that show. So the messages that he would be giving would actually be resonating with multiple people.
Hmm.
So and so sometimes they talk about, people have talked about that as a medium, saying, I'm going to give you a phone call, someone else might get a postcard. So it's little parts of that message will resonate, but it's not the same exact soul and spirit, but it was the intention was the same. So I think, like in that case, that's what I think would happen. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and do what Tyler Henry does
No.
at all. No, right? We definitely not. But it's just to say, like, when we talk about these kind of things, it's like expansion of the soul, like it's expansion of
Yeah.
our awareness and our evolution, and just the what ifs and the curiosity. So yeah.
And for me, it would be, I think if it were me doing it, I would be wanting to be more the universal messages. Now, it
Hmm.
would depend. If there was one person that stood out to me, that might be different. But for me, it would be universal messages of light and love,
Right.
that we are all on this planet for a reason.
Hmm.
And we are, where you are is where you're supposed to be,
Right.
and not to question your value and that kind of stuff. Like that, the kind of messages that if I were just to be randomly giving a message,
Hmm.
that's what it would probably be about. And that that's what would channel from me,
Hmm.
from creator, because I don't think enough people in this world, and I suppose right now I'm doing that to our listeners,
Right.
because I don't think enough people in this world know their value
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
know the innate worth that they come here with. You
Absolutely.
know, people in this world think that they have to do something
Hmm.
to be valuable. And the reality of it is, we don't have to do something to be valuable. We just need to be.
Hmm.
Every single one of us are valuable and here on purpose.
Mhm.
So I think that's the kind of stuff that if I were on a
Yes.
TED Talk, that that's what I would be channeling from
Right.
creator is, do you know your innate value? What is it?
Right.
Because it's just being. It already is. You don't have to be good enough for it. You don't have to take courses enough for it. You just need to be it.
Hmm.
Just step into the power of who you are.
Right.
Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am valuable and I am loved.
Yeah. And I think living the biggest thing, and even so Bashar, one of the people that I follow that's a channeler, um he's been channeling for 40 years, and his message of like your purpose in life, like the we always go out and we look for a purpose, and he goes, your purpose, if you do need to find one, if that is a necessity for your life, is to be authentically you, to be you, just
Yeah,
always, wherever you go, whatever room you walk into, whatever space you take up, is just that you're you. And when you think about all of, like, we can talk about, um we're going to be, releasing, well, probably by this time, our book for grandparents. And when I think about my grandmother, there are people who could have said, well, she didn't work, she didn't really leave her house very much, like, she became housebound with her, with older age, and with her,
hmm,
with her, and she couldn't get around very much. And but she still had a lot of value. Like, when I would
yeah,
go see her, and I couldn't even, she was Italian, and so she spoke 5 languages. English, there was a barrier, a language barrier, but there wasn't a love barrier. Like, so she still gave so much to me. And so she still had so much value to me and so much purpose to me. And people can think that about, like, I know people who have had children who, through cerebral palsy or some different kind of things that they've had to, they have to take care of their child for all of their needs, and the children won't even be able to communicate, verbally or anything, but they still love that child dearly, and there's still so much worth of that person. So when you
right,
think about, like, when we put these limitations on ourselves, right? So that's the thing, is like, those loving messages are very important. They're just as important as telling you that Uncle Joe is safely on the other side, and like, it is. And so I did have to tell myself, when I was having those, the ego battle of because I was so worried that I wasn't going to perform, I wasn't going to give the people what they expected. And so I wondered if that's what you thought, like, if you were to get up and do in front of thousands of people, if maybe somebody would be disappointed that maybe they didn't
no,
get.
that's not really it, because I
Mm,
feel that way every time I go see a new client who's
mm,
dying, and I have to give them some words
yeah.
that are going to help them in that journey. I feel inadequate every single time
Mm,
because I think, what do I have to tell you that is going to make this okay? And I don't have to make it okay.
right.
I don't have to do that. That's not my job.
Right.
My job is just to be the vessel. It's creator who knows what they need to hear.
Right.
And I just have to be open to that. It's very similar the same way when I go to somebody's house to do Reiki.
Hmm.
I set the intention and I prepare myself by saying, creator, guides, and ancestors and Reiki masters, come and flow through me. It's
Right.
not my job to know where they need the healing.
Yes.
It's not my job to know that. It's
Yeah.
just my job to go where I'm told to go.
Yeah. And
And
I do the
it's
same thing with the soul coaching, with the stuff, and that's why I call it soul coaching. I didn't know what else to call it, because it literally was just, I have all of these different things that I have access to energetically.
yeah,
I don't know what you're going to need.
yeah,
So, only your soul knows what you need. And it's the same with the energy healing. So I know you have aqua lead too. Like, we have different modalities of energy healing, and even just intuitive energy healing. Like, I could tell our listeners today, like, those times where you take your hand and you rub it on your elbow if it's hurting, or your knee if that's actually, it's an energetic healing that you're doing to yourself
yeah,
intuitively. You don't even realize that you're doing it. And so you can do that when you say to somebody, I feel for you, I'm sending you love, I'm sending you, that's all energetic healing.
Yep,
That's
that's what
all
you're
of
doing.
that stuff is, and it's intuitive. So I'm like, I know Reiki symbols, I know Aqualite symbols, I know different modalities of how to use crystals, how to use all of these different things. And instead, what I do is I just go, hey, universe, you know what they need.
Yeah,
I don't need to send a specific thing. You know what they need. Use myself, my body, as the vessel for that energy to present itself. Essentially, that's what we're doing, is
yeah,
we're holding the frequency and allowing the others to meet and match the frequency, and that included in our words. It's
yeah,
included with when we talk, like you said earlier when we were talking, that today something hit that you've heard before, but it just didn't hit
yeah,
in the same way. It's the same thing, right? Like, now is when your soul needed to hear it, and so now your soul heard it, and that's what
yeah.
happens.
And I think that's what it's all about too, when you do speak in front of large audiences,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that audience is when I go to speak to people, I go with the intention that there is one person there who needs to hear something that I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school and had to do public speaking, they would say, well, imagine the audience naked.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't want to do that. But what
I
I
might not want to
do,
see them naked.
what I do is go with the intention that there is one person who needs to hear what I have to say.
Right.
And I'm going to say that for one person.
Yeah.
If 500 people needed to hear what I had to say, it's the same as if one person did.
Right.
And that's the same way that I live my life. When
Mm-hmm.
I wake up in the morning and I say, Spirit, take me where you want to take me, bring those people into my life that I need to see today, or maybe I don't need to see any. I go
Right.
with the intention that if I only show kindness to one person
Mm-hmm.
in a day, that's enough, because that's what that person needed. If Spirit didn't bring any people into my life that day, that's okay too.
That means you showed kindness to yourself
Yeah.
and kindness to
So
Connor.
I think that's I think that's kind of it when we talk about speaking in large groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on the one hand, if I was in an audience like Tyler Henry,
Mm-hmm.
which by the way, I love the guy.
Yes.
He's so gentle and kind, and I
Mm-hmm.
love his authenticity. Like he doesn't he never you never hear him pretending he's something that he isn't.
Right.
Even when he's giving messages and scribbling on his pad of paper, he'll say, "I don't know what this means."
Yeah.
He's not saying I'm the medium to the stars and you have to believe everything I say.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. He's
Mm-hmm.
just a normal, authentic person, comes across that way.
Right.
And so, yeah, the thought of being in that kind of audience makes my stomach kind of drop a bit too.
Yeah.
But I think that given that opportunity, it would be the right time and we would have something to give.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Like, I know for us, and this is, we're prophesying or whatever. I have a feeling, I know there's we're going to speak in front of, I don't know what it's going to look like, but in front of people.
People, humans.
Live, we will be sitting on a stage and we will have people in
You
front of
mean
us,
not just a podcast where we
not just
assume people listen?
yeah, yeah. Well, there are some, the analytics show there are some, but so we will have people live in there, the energy, we will feel all of that. And it is a little bit different to have interactions. And I know I've talked to you about that too, is like, in my own personal business, is would I want to be somebody like Tyler Henry, who would be speaking in large audience, doing platform mediumship, as opposed to doing it one-on-one over Zoom. And it's like, I like the connection, the one-on-one, but I mean, I like the platform. It is
Yeah,
different. The energy is different. It is a little bit different, but it is fun. And I think as long as things are still fun, like in life,
yeah.
and you still have
Do you
that.
suppose his ears are burning today, knowing that we're here talking to him?
I mean, I would love that, if he
If
might
you're
have.
listening, Tyler, and you want to chat with us, just come on.
Yeah, absolutely. If he had time, he seems to be very busy, but And even that stuff too is like when you think about him, and I know we were talking about, when we were saying, hey, what were we gonna pick? We were talking about celebrities and stuff. And it is funny, right? I was telling you earlier that realizing celebrities are just people. Coming to that realization. But yeah, so like I do follow him. So he has a TikTok account as well, and he's gone live on TikTok. So I hanging out just at his house, and
Yeah.
it does seem like, it's nice to like see behind the scenes, and people love that stuff. People love the behind the scenes stuff, and seeing that people are just everyday people, like celebrities are just everyday people like us. And geez, with me and you, we're pretty open about all
Well,
our
and
stuff already.
I'll
So,
be open enough to say that up until probably a month ago, I didn't know who he was
yeah. Yeah. And
because
there's tons
I
of
just
people I
didn't.
don't know either, right? Like, and people will say that, and they're like, but they're internationally known.
So it's not like I've been fangirling about him for a long time.
Yeah, this is new energy. This is burgeoning energy. It is, and it is. I mean, it is interesting. I think that a lot of people probably found him through his Netflix special because, that is where a lot of people do find people. But there are tons. Like I know that there are tons of other, mediums and psychics and spiritual teachers and gurus, and so many where people will be like, oh, do you know so and so? No, like they don't know. So, but that is the thing about the world, is that um each one of us we can even take what everybody has, but when it's in us and we present it in a specific way, I could say the exact same, I could read the exact same thing that you read, and someone would get a different meaning
Yeah.
or hear something different from what I said. So
Yeah.
it is important to know that each one of us is worth
And it's
it.
important to know as well, even as we're mentioning and, fanning on Tyler Henry today, there's people out there who think we're pretty something too
Yeah. Yeah. And they will think that too.
in everybody's life.
And we're
Every
just
single
normal.
person has people who think you're pretty awesome.
Yeah. And we're all just normal. And we all think that, I think for the most part, I think even Tyler Henry, I don't think he even realizes
Yeah.
how
And I
big he
think
is.
that all of these stars and people that we put up on these little pedestals, I think they have the same struggles that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they feel exactly the same in situations that we do. I think
Yeah.
they question. I think they question their own spiritual integrity. I think they question their own value in the world. I think
Yeah.
they wonder sometimes what their purpose is. We
Yeah.
think they got it all together, but
Yeah.
I think they're just like us
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
happen to be famous.
Well, I will tell you, and it's obviously no secret because I don't know this person in real life, but Adam Levine, so he's the lead singer of Maroon 5, and he started The Voice with Blake Shelton. He actually says that every single time before he gets on stage, he's nervous. Every single time. And he said that the moment he stopped being nervous, he would stop having fun, so he would stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like, because it's that nervous excitement, or that scare sighted, as you talked about, is that nervous, like nerves and excitement are very similar. and
Yeah.
and so that nervous excitement, like that whole, like, because all of us are like, I don't want to, I don't know, fall off the stage, or forget the lyrics in the middle of a song, or like
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And we all have those, like, uh-oh, what happens if that stuff happens? And hey, whatever, right?
And I think it's the same type of thing, even as I've often thought myself in helping the clients that I do, people who are transitioning and leaving this earth to the next. I think if I ever stopped thinking how sacred that was,
Hmm.
I would stop doing it.
Right.
I don't think I would be able to do it
Hmm.
if I didn't think it was sacred and if
Right.
it didn't cause me to be scare sighted.
Right.
Like, I think I wouldn't be good at it. And it's
Right.
kind of like, we've talked before on another podcast about being an empath and
Hmm.
feeling things. And I used to get mad at myself because, when I was with somebody who was dying and transitioning, I would bring that energy home with me and beat myself up because I don't want to bring that energy home with me. And then I woke up in the morning one day and Spirit said to me, Maggie, it's because you feel it that you're good at it.
Right.
Stop worrying about that stuff. So I think sometimes if we, if we just got to stop worrying about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think those people who are on stage that we look at as famous, I think they're just like us and they worry about it too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's exactly it.
So that's kind of our topic for today. And
Ah.
just before we leave, though, I do want to say if you're out there listening, Tyler Henry, we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to come chat with us, even 5 minutes, we're good.
So you tell everybody how to find us, buddy.
Well, yeah, in that case, if you are Tyler Henry looking for us, you'll come, you'll come to our website at aboveandbeyond.com. Also, email us at ataboveandbeyond@gmail.com and find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and everywhere else where you can find our podcast. A new podcast does come out every Monday at 11 a.m. And we have started having special guests next time. We'll find out when it will be. Just look on our website, on our Facebook page, all of those places to find out. Soon TikTok too, I think. I'll post more over there. Because
And
gotta
thanks
go over
for
there.
letting us have just a fun day, everybody.
Yeah, I know. Our fun day turned a little serious, but
our fun day that turned into a Tyler Henry day.
Yeah. Hey, any day with a Tyler Henry day is fine with me. So that's
Okay,
it for
bye-bye.
me. Bye.